How can I sell my mobile home park? Thinking about selling your mobile home park? Here's how you're going to be able to attract the right buyers and get top dollar. Selling a mobile home park is not like selling a house. Here's the strategy so you can maximize the value of selling your mobile home park. Who are the best buyers to buy your mobile home park? Is it large institutions? Is it private investors? Is it mom and pop owners? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. By the end of this video, we're going to look at how to position your mobile home park to sell to the right buyers and get the maximum price. Know your park's value before you put it up for sale. So investors look for the coveted land lease community model. That means they are buying a stream of income from the land. So if you have any park-owned homes or you own any of the mobile homes in the community, we want to back that income out. Investors do not want to collect rents on mobile homes. They want to collect rents on the land. So in your financials, let's back out the rental income and the revenue from the land. That's what's going to be used to calculate the ultimate value of the property. One key strategy is sell the mobile homes to the tenants before you list it for sale. Even if your tenants have to come up with a payment program, it looks good to the investor because all of the homes are tenant owned. None of the homes are owned by the landlord. That's attractive and going to make your park that much more appealing to the investment community. Maximize NOI to maximize value. Remember, NOI is net operating income. This is the profit that the asset generates. Now, we don't talk about any debt here. This is if you bought the asset all cash, what does the property generate in actual profits? This is what we're going to focus on. So how do you maximize the NOI? Well, number one, raise the rents if possible. If you can raise those rents on tenants and you're still well within the range of the rental rate in the area, the comparables, do it before the sale. Number two, get the financials dialed in. A nice, clean profit and loss statement is critical to getting a buyer to pay top dollar. What we like to focus on as investors is the trailing 12. That means trailing 12 months of consistent looking income coming in on the property and showing the expenses. They don't vary much over those 12 months. That's a clean picture for an investor to buy in order to pay the maximum price. And then third, clean up delinquency. If you have tenants that aren't paying or they're 4, 5, 6 months behind, it's key to come up with payment plans, get all that bad debt cleaned up, and then it looks really clean to an investor because ultimately they're buying a stream of cash flow. They like affordable housing, but yet it doesn't really matter. They're buying that return on investment, so you want to make that clean as possible. Show the documentation so that it demonstrates or supports this is what the price of my property is worth, and you can back it right up with all those documents. Marketing the mobile home park for sale. So you got a few options here. Number one, you can market it yourself. Put it out there on websites like LoopNet, on Crexy, on local MLS, commercial MLSs. These are great places to generate leads, yet you're gonna have to go through a lot of bad conversations. Mobile home parks are popular, but there's a lot of newbie buyers out there that are gonna waste your time, yet you might land somebody that's going to be a great buyer and possibly even pay a premium. We all want that coveted California 1031 exchange buyer, and they may pay a ridiculous price, yet you have to do all the work. You might save the 3, 4, 5, 6% on the real estate commissions, but you're the one negotiating, you're the one giving the information and walking the buyer through the sale. So there's a trade-off to that. Number two, hire a broker. If you're gonna hire a broker, focus on a broker that deals in mobile home park sales. Don't hire a local broker that doesn't know anything about mobile home parks, because that's not going to expose your property to the biggest target market. And then when the broker knows what they're talking about, they can underwrite and analyze the buyer so that you guys don't waste time negotiating with someone that really can't get the deal done. And they can use competition to help increase the price so you can maximize your value or your sale price. Number three, a lot of people use off-market websites like Craigslist or Facebook, or there's something like the mobilehomeparkstore.com. These aren't bad, yet don't expect the highest quality buyers to come from these sites. It's good to get as much exposure as possible out there, but I wouldn't suggest trying to sell your mobile home park on some of these off-market sites because the buyer is going to expect some type of discount. But if you have a pretty challenging mobile home park and you don't want to do any of these improvements or you don't want to get the profit and loss dialed in, then yeah, put it out there. You're going to find people that are willing to take on these projects. They'll probably invest their own time and energy and money and buy a park that's suboptimal to the investment community. Number three, finding the right buyer. This is critical. You can waste 6, 12, 18 months in contract with the wrong buyer. And there's so many new buyers out there right now that that's not the path you probably want to go down. So first thing to do is if you're selling the property on your own to a buyer, ask for their track record. How many times have they actually bought a mobile home park? What do they currently own now? What sources of financing do they have? Are they able to get a letter of credit or a recommendation from a bank? They need to have the financing available or at least the proof of funds. And if they're insulted by those questions, then you don't want to deal with them anyway. You're the one in control. It's your property. You get to dictate the terms, and there's probably going to be issues coming up. So if you have a buyer that is competent, they understand how to handle some of the issues, say that there's delinquency problems, some tenants aren't paying, or there's some repairs that need to be made to the property. You want someone that knows how to handle these issues before they get dramatic or emotional about the purchase, and then they cancel the deal, and you wasted all that time working with them. Now, what type of buyer does this look like? Well, there's 3 buckets of buyers. One, there's institutional buyers. They're gonna be very picky. They're gonna want everything perfect on your park. Perfect roads, perfect water lines, sewer lines, power lines, perfect homes, clean, everyone's paying their rent. They are gonna pay a premium. These are big companies that typically are traded on the public real estate market or the public stock exchange. They're called REITs, real estate investment trusts. Because they're very picky, they won't buy most mobile home parks, and they need to be of a significant size, at least 100 or more units. If your mobile home park isn't 100 units, or it's not in a core city where there's a lot of population in the area, you want to look at another bucket of buyers. And these are private investors. This is like myself. Investors that have experience over a handful of years or a decade of buying mobile home communities. They own them, they actively manage them, they know how to finance them, they have available lines of credit, or they have the cash available, and they're the ones that are going to be the best buyer for that community because they can execute. Now the question is, do they have integrity and character? That's another story. You never know what you're gonna get into, but what I would recommend is getting some references, asking, can I talk to some of the sellers that you've bought from before? And if they'll give you that list, then ideally those people will say it was a smooth process, they didn't create any major issues, and the most important thing is they didn't come back and renegotiate the price at the last minute, making up issues that really weren't materially affecting the deal. And this happens all the time. Once you're in escrow for 2 or 3 months, typically sellers are counting on the sale to occur, and the buyer does the takeaway at the end, where they're gonna come up with some fabricated issue, reduce the price by $2 or $3 or $500,000, and then they expect the seller to buy into it and sell the deal because they've already spent the money and counted on that sale to go through. That's not what you want. You want someone that's gonna do what they say they're gonna do, and if there are issues, they disclose them or they share them with you so you can work through them together. What I suggest, if you're working with buyers directly or even with a broker, is get the copy of the third-party due diligence reports. There's nothing wrong with that, asking for them from the buyer. So if they get an appraisal in the contract, ask for the appraisal and see what did the appraisal come in at. Ask for any physical inspections that they do. You want to see those reports, any surveys that they do. And that also tells you, is that buyer committed? Are they spending money, hard dollars, on trying to acquire my property, or are they just wasting time and I don't know what's going on the other end? Also, if they have a term sheet for their loan, I require buyers of my mobile home parks to show me the term sheet. What type of loan is the lender going to give the buyer? That way I know they have that financing secure, and in the last minute, they don't blow up the deal because they don't have access to the debt. And then the third type of buyer is the mom and pop buyer, the family-owned type, smaller buyer for mobile home parks. But there is a strategy to work with these people. If somebody in your local market owns another mobile home park or a few of them, they sometimes can be your best buyer. Since they already have a manager, since they already know the business, since they're already in the region, give them a call. Maybe they want to buy another mobile home park in the region, or the family wants to start growing their mobile home park business. Call the local buyers around you, have an appraisal, or get a broker to price it out for you, and then share with them, hey, this is my mobile home park. I'd like to sell it to someone local, and see if they would like to buy it first before you have to put it on the market, because you know they can execute. They have one down the road, and as long as they have a good reputation and their park shows well and they treat their tenants right, that could be the best option for you. When positioning your mobile home park for sale, the financing is a critical aspect to getting a great price. A great strategy that I've used before is carrying paper or owner financing the buyer. So if a buyer is going to come in and they want an ease of closing where they don't have to deal with the bank, and you don't, as the seller, want to pay large capital gains taxes, you can carry the paper or carry the mortgage and be the bank for the buyer. That way, you only pay the capital gains on the amount that the buyer puts down, and you collect interest on the rest of their installment sale or the balance of what they owe you. And this opens up the market because a lot of people don't want to deal with big banks. They'll pay a premium price for the ease of owner financing. And if you're not looking to reinvest and find more property to go out, buy and manage and deal with all of the aspects of commercial real estate investing, this could be a win-win solution where you collect a check every single month, and the bigger down payment that you get, the more security you have when selling the property. So if I were selling my mobile home park, if I could get 30, 40, 50% down, I know that buyer is not going to walk away from that large down payment. And if they do, I actually don't mind, because then I get to foreclose on that buyer and take the property back and then sell it to someone else, keeping the down payment. So seller financing is a great strategy to sell your mobile home park. Another strategy I've been playing around with seller financing is seller finance the sale of the mobile home park. And if you want to carry that note or collect those payments for 2, 3, 4 years, you collect your interest. Then you have a need for the cash. You can sell off that note. There's a whole market out there where people will buy your loan. And as long as it's performing, they may pay up to 95 to 100% of the face value of that mortgage, and then you get all your cash out, and that new owner of the mortgage starts collecting the payments. We'll get into that in future videos about buying and selling debt, yet it's a great strategy to look at now, where if you don't want to be tied into a 10-year loan with someone, you could collect payments and then sell off your mortgage down the road. There's plenty of buyers out there for debt right now. And the final point, if you want to get a premium value for your mobile home park, then make the improvements. Everybody loves a turnkey property. So if you can pave the roads, if you can clean up all the debris, if you can get all the tenants paying, you can cut the trees. Tree cutting is a very expensive endeavor when you go into a new mobile home park with trees hanging over all the homes. Do any of the minor repairs or even major repairs, and then it's turnkey. It looks great for an investor, and that site visit really matters, because when they show up with the appraiser or they're doing the inspection, they don't want to walk into any hornet's nests of any major capital improvements or challenges. So if you can show that I spent all this money and I improved the asset, you're going to get a high value at the end of the sale because you did all the hard work up front. These are the ways that I've learned how to sell my mobile home parks for premium values. And my company's Patriot Holdings. I buy mobile home parks, so if you'd like to sell your mobile home park, come to our website, patriotholdings.com. Shoot us an email or put a comment down there and see what buyers are out there to buy your mobile home park, because there are plenty out there. It is a very attractive asset right now, and you're in the driver's seat. They're not building a lot of new ones anymore. You have a valuable asset, so you want to maximize the value. And in future videos, I'll show you how to calculate the return on investment for any mobile home park, so that way you can show a buyer, this is what you'll be making once you buy my community. You don't want to be left in the dark on this. You want to be fair with both sides to get a good price, but yet the buyer has to make money too. So click on the next video or put something in the comments. I'd love to start this conversation with you and hear your stories about owning your mobile home park and how you maximize your value.